We have a headline the likes of which, or at least the type of which, seems to pop up every couple of years and sort of roil around the surface of the internet and then go away for a couple more years. This time it comes to us from BBC. Asteroid contains building blocks of life, say scientists, written by Rebecca Morell and Allison Francis. I meant to change that. There is a single L Allison there. The article itself reads as such: the chemical building blocks of life have been found in the grainy dust of an asteroid called Bennu. An analysis reveals samples of the space rock were scooped up by NASA spacecraft and brought to Earth, contain a rich array of minerals and thousands of organic compounds. These include amino acids, which are the molecules that make up proteins, as well as nucleobases, the fundamental components of DNA. This doesn't mean there was ever life on Bennu, but it supports the theory that asteroids delivered these vital ingredients to Earth when they crashed to our planet billions of years ago. This is a theory known as transpermia, that there is some element of life somewhere in the universe, and the way that it started on Earth is that an asteroid crashed into Earth, bringing those elements with it. The Afterwards, the sort of conditions on Earth were favorable to whatever elements of life were carried by that comet, and life perpetuated that way. That's the theory of transpermia. The article itself goes on. Scientists think those same compounds could also have been brought to other worlds in our solar system. What we've learned from it is amazing, said Professor Sarah Russell, a cosmic mineralogist from the Natural History Museum of London. It's telling us about our own origins, and it enables us to answer these really, really big questions about where life began and who doesn't want to know about how life started. So I don't know that that is necessarily true. Uh, this is telling us about how life started on our planet. We have no real reason to believe that transpermia is the actual origin of life on Earth. It is hypothesized that all sorts of things could be the origin of life on Earth, all sorts of different different con- I don't even know where to start the argument, but so like fissures at the bottom of the ocean. When you look at the diversity of life in the ocean versus the diversity of life on land, the diversity of life in the ocean is crazy, and they are much more difficult conditions in which to live. This, some people think, suggests that the idea of life starting underwater makes much more sense. It could be that at these fissure points at the crust of the earth, there is something very, very special there that could actually lead to the origin of something like life. When you look at the hypothesized evolution of eyes, for instance, the the sensitivity to light being the key component of the cells that develop into eyes suggests perhaps that the origin of the eye started with a creature for whom light was not quite so abundant. So I think that perhaps transpermia, sure, but I think that we could also look different places on this planet to try to figure out a little bit more about this as well. Anyway, the article itself continues. The findings are published in two papers in the journals Nature and Nature Astronomy. Grabbing a bit of Bennu has been one of the most audacious missions NASA ever attempted. A spacecraft called OSIRIS-REx unfurled a robotic arm to collect some of the 500-meter-wide space rock before packing it into a capsule and returning it to Earth in 2023. This is interesting because spacefarer is going to plummet in cost. Robotics are about to plummet in cost. So, this idea of going out and mining asteroids that has always been such a ridiculous, cost prohibitive activity, no matter how much gold you may or may not find on an asteroid, well, maybe it's not so far fetched anymore. You look at what Elon Musk is doing with SpaceX, you look at what Elon Musk is doing with Tesla, and it it you it doesn't take very long to put together the pieces that Elon Musk, who wants to colonize Mars, is building SpaceX so that he can send ships to Mars. Within Tesla, he is making a humanoid robot known as Optimus. No, I think that's a pre-release name. I hope they changed the name before, but Optimus is a humanoid robot that obviously does not need oxygen to live, does not need food to live. So, should Elon Musk be able to fund himself a rocket to Mars, he can load that rocket with humanoid robots that can then build a shelter, the type of shelter that would be necessary for a manned mission to Mars. So, just some very interesting things there. What would be the profitability of humanoid robots mining asteroids? About 120 grams of black dust was collected and shared with scientists around the world. This might not sound like much material, but it's proved to be a treasure trove. Every grain is telling us something new about Bennu, said Professor Russell, who's been studying the tiny specks. About a teaspoonful of asteroid was sent to the scientists in the UK. The new research has shown that the space rock is packed full of nitrogen and carbon-rich compounds. Very important to proteins. These include 14 of the 20 amino acids that life on Earth uses to build proteins and all 4 of the ring-shaped molecules that make up DNA: adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. This makes me wonder, how sure are scientists that life everywhere would need these things to live? How sure are scientists that everywhere in the universe these things would build life? The study also found an array of minerals and salts, suggesting water was once present on the asteroid. Ammonia, which is important for biochemical reactions, was discovered in the sample too. Some of these compounds have been seen in space rocks that have fallen to Earth, but others haven't been detected until now. It's just incredible how rich it is. If it's full of these minerals that we haven't seen before in meteorites, and the combination of them that we haven't seen before. It's been such an exciting thing to study, said Professor Russell. This latest study adds to growing evidence that asteroids brought water and organic material to Earth. The early solar system was really turbulent, and there were millions of asteroids like Bennu flying about, explained Dr. Ashley King from the Natural History Museum. The idea is that these bombarded the young Earth, seeding our planet with ingredients that gave us the oceans and made life possible. But Earth wasn't the only world getting hit by space rocks. Asteroids would have been colliding with other planets too. Earth is unique in that it's the only place we have found life so far. But we know asteroids were delivering those ingredients and the carbon and the water through the solar system, said Dr. King. And one of the big things that we're trying to understand now is if you have the right conditions, why do we have a life here on Earth, and could we potentially find it elsewhere in our solar system? It's a key question that scientists will continue to try and answer. They have decades of research ahead on the dust brought back from Bennu and parts of our cosmic neighborhood still to explore. Obviously, an interesting and compelling type of headline there that we have DNA, perhaps, from a UFO, an unidentified falling object from space, this asteroid of Bennu. But how realistic is it? Are sort of nitrogens and building blocks of amino acids more common than we think? Are they far more common than life? If they are, if you can find these sort of building blocks of amino acids multiple places in space, but you don't find life there, then it suggests that it's not the amino acids that are the key ingredient, but something that comes after that point. So, some life inducing agent, some life inducing mechanism, right? What is sort of, or at least used to be, hypothesized that it was a heat vent or some type of warmth. I don't know. It always makes me think, scientists always say there has to be water and there has to be oxygen on a planet for it to sustain life. But that just means it has to be water and oxygen to sustain the type of life that we recognize or that we suggest could exist. Is it possible that there are creatures in the universe that breathe something else? And what would those creatures, what would the biological mechanisms be that allow those creatures to live the way that lungs allow things on Earth to live? That is what I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with others. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, this is the kind of thing that I do pretty often on the channel. So consider hitting the subscribe button. Stick around for more.